One quick kind of heads up note as we're recording this in July, our YouTube link has changed. So if you have subscribed to us already and you are following us on YouTube and you're like, where are all of the new episodes? Our YouTube link has changed. So make sure to click on the link in Instagram or anywhere else that we're kind of advertising our podcast and subscribe to the new YouTube. Now, the genesis of all this, August, as you know, YouTube and Google, which are, I think, synonymous with each other in this particular vein, has somehow done some weird stuff with our Google account and locked us all out. Well,
Mhm.
locked me all out for whatever reason. And because it's tied to YouTube, it locked us out of that YouTube as well. So we did some finagling, some changing, some adjustments. We're back where we need to be, but some things have changed. Now, if you're used to following us on podcasts, for Apple, Spotify, can't say now. Spotify now has our video as well. So if you follow us on Spotify, you'll get video from us as well. Not on Apple, but on Spotify. But audio everywhere else, YouTube link has changed. Welcome to Certified Bad Example, the podcast where we look at headlines, viral moments, and parenting fails that make you ask, what were they thinking? I'm Jamil Mayers.
And I'm August Black. Every week we break down the stories, laugh at the chaos, and talk about how we can actually learn from it. Because the world already has enough certified bad examples.
So what's up with you, August? You got 15 seconds to bring us up to date on everything that's happened during the summer.
Oh man, we've had quite a summer already. I feel like getting into the flow of having Bo home all the time and doing things. Went to the pool. I went in. I did like this. I have a thing for big birds, like raptor birds, and I for my birthday I went up to Vermont and got to practice falconry for a day, which was really cool and super nerdy, but I'm into it. And then
Yeah, I
just
saw some of
getting.
those big birds you were holding. It was like, wow. And I know they get bigger and bigger, but I think that was a pretty good size bird you had on your hand.
Yeah, I mean, it was like just under, I think, 2 feet. But the craziest part is that it weighed under 2 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Like,
So it's
like
like
they're
super light.
incredibly light, and like even with a 4 foot wingspan, like this bird is super super light. So it was just an incredible experience. And I got to be in nature, and the drive up there was incredible. So far, my summer is doing pretty well. Been working a ton and doing this too, and yeah. So we're just.
So can we classify you as a falconer now?
No, I
Oh,
cannot claim
no.
that, but I
No.
I have looked into becoming one because of how much joy I felt while doing it.
Oh, this is some
So
serious business for you. Jeez. I didn't
yeah,
realize.
I really, it's just super cool, and falconry's been around for documented for 6,000 years and possibly up to 10,000 years with human interaction with bigger birds to help hunting and things like that. So it's just, I don't know, it's very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, next time we meet, or our next episode, you need to be on the road to falconing. Is that what we call it? That's the profession? That's what it's going to be going forward. Falconing.
Falconing. I like it. That's the next step.
So my
Yeah.
podcast, I can make whatever up. Anyway, all right, let's get into our first story so we can
Sounds good.
maximize on the amazing time we have with this audience. And of course, guys, if you have some thoughts, comments, some feelings, you think we did it right, did it wrong, leave some comments in the comment section down at the bottom of whatever you're looking at or listening to on your screens. All right, first one. Todd Chrisley built a television brand around being a successful family man while, according to federal prosecutors, submitting false financial statements to banks to obtain up to $30 million in fraudulent loans. Prosecutors said that the loans funded the lavish lifestyle showcased on Chrisley Knows Best, which is a TV show, while taxes also went unpaid. In 2022, Todd and his wife, Julie, were convicted of bank fraud and tax evasion. Their children, including teenage son Grayson and adopted daughter Chloe, watched both parents report to federal prison, becoming collateral damage in a crime that they had no part in. In May of 2025, Todd and Julie received presidential pardons and were released from prison. Todd had since launched a podcast, resumed media appearances, and has spoken publicly about rebuilding his family life. So, August, do you know Todd Chrisley?
I
Not
don't
personally, of course.
I don't know who that is. Is it a reality TV? I mean, I'm guessing reality TV of some kind.
Yeah, so he had a reality TV show. I can't remember what network it was on, and it was fairly popular. But
Okay.
uh, there was a certain lavishness about it. If you watch the show, you would think, "Man, these people are
Loaded.
independently wealthy and just doing a show," right? So all of this was behind the scenes.
Um, I don't.
What do you think what do you think the impact to the kids are? What is the lesson they have learned from this incident?
I mean, that's a tough one. I feel like to watch your parents kind of boast about their lifestyle, putting it out into the world, and allowing the world to perceive them as successful, while in reality they're stealing money from banks, and that's somebody else's money. That money gets spent. That's not, those banks loan the money in hopes that they get paid back. Not paying taxes on, you said $30 million, and then to go to jail and not feel the full weight of their actions because they get a pardon a few years later. I don't know. I feel like that's a really interesting lesson for a child to learn, because it's like, on one hand, you're like, my parents are a fraud. They lied to me and to my sister our whole lives. Not only did they lie, but it's super public and everyone knows that they never really did anything. And now, even though they're a fraud, they're kind of getting away with it. And it's like, what lesson is the kid learning? It depends on, what kind of head is on the shoulders, right? Like for one kid, it's like, wow, I really don't want to end up like my parents. Like, that is such a, the way that impacted me. I'm going to learn from that, and not see that as an example I'd like to follow. But on the other hand, you could see, like, wow, my parents kind of just got to do whatever they wanted. They kind of got in trouble for a second there, and then they got away with it. So, like, can I do that too?
Right. So I think it's the proverbial bubble that kids end up living in, right? Your world is as it has been created by your parents while you're younger. So I don't know these folks well enough, right? These are all conjectures and my thoughts and opinions. I think
Mhm.
that they are susceptible to, I don't see it any other way, right? Money fixes everything. You may get a slap on the wrist here and there, but as long as you have money or are perceived to have money, then you have these benefits, right? Getting pardoned, I don't know that I agree or disagree with that. I think pardoning serves a purpose, especially if it's a nonviolent crime. That
Mhm.
if you have the opportunity to pardon someone and they are contrite in what they've done, and their sentence is perceived as being too much, whatever that the case may be, I'm okay with pardons.
Okay.
I think the challenge is what exactly the kids have learned, right?
Yeah.
Because while your parents are in jail, there's no income. So what was that lifestyle like? Was that really, 7 years of I'm waiting for the next break so I can come back to living the life that I was living before? Because that's all they've known for a while, and they
They were
don't,
they were
they're kids. They don't have to know where the money's coming from.
Yeah, yeah. I guess, like, I mean, 7 years is a decent amount of time. So
So
that's a decent
he got
amount of time.
sentenced for 12, only did
Okay.
7 because of the pardon.
All
No,
right.
let me rephrase that. He was sentenced for 12 and the mom was sentenced for 7. They
Okay.
both only served 28 months.
Oh, all right. All right. So
So a little bit over 2 years.
a little bit over 2 years. I mean, that's
Yeah.
definitely jarring for the child, because not only did they lose their entire home and security and, lifestyle in that way financially. If you're used to a certain thing for your whole life and then all of a sudden it's gone, that's abrupt. But also their parents were gone for 2.5 years. But I still, yeah, that's a tough one. That's
You
a
still
tough
feel
one.
like you're like the punishment was not enough.
I just, I
So
mean,
I think the bad lesson here, or the lesson that we need to take away from this, is when you get sucked into the world of social media and you start appearing to be a certain way, and then you have to try to maintain that because of social media, then you run the risk of putting yourself in these type of compromising positions, right?
Hmm.
Because you get away with it once and you're like, ooh, okay, I got $5, and then because I put the comma in the wrong spot here, ooh, that was great, let me do it now for $30 million. Which is an obscene amount of money to try to be fraudulent about, right, from our perspective. But
But also,
if
they
you're
got
doing
it.
it, yeah, well, exactly.
That's
So
that's
if
the
you're
other
if
thing. I'm like, how did they get it?
I think so. I think this is like stepping stones, right? They did one thing, they borrow, they paid it back, or got, and then they borrowed again, but then they kind of fudged the numbers a little bit. So there's a bit of a trust between the banking institution and them to go,
Got
yeah,
it.
they're used to doing it this way. They're paying things back, so obviously there must be some sort of growth that they're happening. So 30 million, sure, let's do it. Maybe they put some property up for collab. I don't know, right? I'm sure they didn't just go in and say give it to me. There has to be some history there. But on the same token, I think again, because of social media and trying to keep up with the Joneses, it's
Hmm.
easy to fall into this. It's the trap that most people on social media see. It's like, oh, they're living such a lavish lifestyle. It's like you don't know what's going on when the cameras are off. And this is a
Yeah.
prime example of that from a parental perspective. Like, don't put yourself in a position where this is all you've got. And of course, this was during the time where social media was the thing. That's how you lived. That's how people saw you. When you're rich, when you're rich, I'm using air quotes for those who can't see me. Then you get free things when you're rich and well known and famous.
Hmm.
And for the most part, he was. I saw a lot of his stuff. I didn't watch him like weekly or whatnot. It was every now and again he would be on with his kids. He was a bit of an annoying character for me, which is probably why it never took off for me. But I'm aware of him and
Okay.
his kids and things of that nature. And then I was aware of when he got arrested. Dude, everybody gets caught for tax evasion. Like, what are we doing? Wesley Snipes got caught for tax evasion. Who was it? Al Capone, tax evasion. All these gangsters never got caught for killing anybody. They got caught for tax evasion.
Which is so funny because it's like after a certain amount of money, you don't actually pay that much in tax compared to the
Listen,
rest of us.
whatever that number is, pay it.
It's not
I
worth it.
know I know it's a big number, but it's proportional to a certain degree. It's not exactly, I wouldn't call it the tax code fair across the board, but if you got 30 million and you have to pay a certain percentage, off of 30 million, like I get it. That's a
You're not gonna
big
feel it.
number, but you need to pay that cuz August Black and Jamil Mayers are paying their taxes off of our little small
Our
checks. Like,
yeah, not not quite 30 million yet.
okay, 15 million. We
15.
don't
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
buzz about
It's,
it.
it's a cool 15 mil. It's fine. It's fine. It's I live a lavish lifestyle.
So I am hoping that the kids have learned that, hey, we don't have to do it this way. Maybe social media isn't for us. I know
Hmm.
that Todd and his wife, perhaps his wife, are back on social media and doing things. If that's all you know, then that's what you need to do to survive, or manage your family. I get it. They're doing it perhaps right with the podcast and things whatever that happens to be. I'm hoping that the kids have learned their lesson that if you do something wrong, you get punished for it and get a pardon.
Yeah, you do something wrong, you get punished for it. And I have to think that like they were earning some income. If their reality TV show was doing well, maybe they were just spending beyond their means, but it wasn't like they had nothing and then they used that 30 million to just
Well, it's
fund.
never enough. It's never
Yeah.
enough. And I think again, there's a lot that we don't see behind,
Hmm.
you know, um, these television shows. I mean, you could be the television show is not funding your lifestyle. They're just there to record stuff. So if you're broke, you're broke. They're not going to come in and go, "Oh, let me move you to
Fix it.
Malibu for a better
Uh-huh.
show." It's like this is where you're staying temporarily, and then once we're done, see ya, go back to your shack. I would assume that that's the way it works. I mean, they're not going to build you up like
Yeah.
that. I'm sure you're getting paid, but it's not 30 millions per episode. So
Yeah, it's not quite the same. It's not quite the
yeah.
same. Yeah, that's
So
man.
don't do that, August. All right,
Don't
what's
I
your
am putting
story?
that on my do not do list. Do not do
Well, you know what? Do
bank
half of
fraud.
it, not the rest of it. Just
Okay.
make the money
Just
without
bank
the fraud
fraud,
part.
no tax evasion. I'll pay my
That is
tax.
not what I said.
Do half. This is too funny. All right, guys, I have a story for you. I also want to apologize. I'm very yawny today. Late shift, late end of my night last night, so I guess I need to take a nap after this. But anyways, to my story. So a man, this kind of was a viral video I saw a couple of weeks ago. A man called the police on a dad for using the women's bathroom with his young daughters. So Tyler Brodsky, father from Oklahoma, stopped in Alabama at a quick trip on the road with his two young daughters. He chose to use the empty women's restroom over the men's restroom, which he described as very dirty and occupied. A Mississippi-based real estate agent confronted him, called the police, and demanded law enforcement to intervene, despite Brodsky simply helping his two daughters use the restroom. The interaction was filmed and went viral with over 24 million views.
So I have two opinions on this.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think as a default, as a dad, with whatever sex child you may have, girl or boy, you should definitely go into the men's room because the adult, I think, is who harkens which restroom to go into.
Mm-hmm.
However you identify is the way I'll phrase that, is which restroom you should go in with your kids, right? But I also feel like if the men's restroom is overcrowded, busy, and the women's restroom is available and the child just absolutely needs to go, like this is an emergency, which kids always have, then you should be okay to do that. The thing with restrooms is I think because men don't go into the women's restroom as often, there is like this nebulous cloud of, ooh, we don't know what happens in there. Like people are walking around naked trying to find their bathrobes, and they had flip flops on, and it's a restroom. Like you don't come out of the stall unless you're full. It's the same thing from the men's restroom. It is exactly the same thing.
It's close, except women tend to actually make it in the toilet instead of peeing everywhere.
Well, there you go. And
Yeah.
I go back to I've been to restaurants where literal restaurants where you have one entry into the bathroom and it's male and female.
Mm-hmm.
And you go in and you may be using the stall right next to a young lady, but you're in a stall, the door closes. When both of you come out, you're going to wash your hands in front of a mirror. Maybe the young lady decides to put on or touch up makeup or what, but you don't. Well, okay, that's fine. And then you leave. What is exactly the difference? Like anything private wise that you would need to do as an adult, again, male, female, or however you decide to represent in life, all of that is done behind a closed door inside of a bathroom. So what is the hang up? That's the way all bathrooms should be, period. No one's prancing around like a gym locker.
Yeah, and I think you can put it in like an example as like, oh well, if the men's restroom is out of order, then the women's restroom becomes a gender neutral restroom, and everyone uses it, right? I was at a diner, and I'm waiting in line, and there's a men's restroom single stall and a women's restroom single stall, and I'm waiting, and there's two people in front of me, and a guy comes out, and after like 10 minutes, it was like, is there no one in there? Like, oh no. It's like, then use it. Like it doesn't matter, especially if it's a single stall. And when I saw that video, I contemplated what I would do because I do have a young daughter and I do use the men's restroom. I struggled to use the women's restroom pre-transition because no one thought I belonged in there. I would never use it for just myself now. That would make me and anyone else uncomfortable. But I thought about like, wow, like, there are urinals in the men's restroom, but like I have literally never walked into a men's restroom, walked past a urinal and like accidentally caught a glimpse of something I wasn't trying to find. Right. Like, like I'm not looking. So, it's not like, so I
But
understand.
even if that is the case, what exactly do we think is going to happen?
Well, and I think
Right?
that from the dad's perspective, he's like, look, like if I'm going into a men's restroom and I've got my two young girls, I don't want them to see anything that they don't need to see. And with urinals, that's a concern. I've had the same thought as a dad with a daughter. Sometimes I hold her and just tell her to close her eyes until we get to the stall, depending on where we are. the only thing that is genuinely true is that the men's restroom is gross compared to the women's restroom. I don't know why. I can't tell you. But for some reason, the women's restroom is always cleaner. And
So what? Okay, so like, I will tell you this. So two things. One, I hate male public restrooms, and I agree with you. They are.
I don't get it.
It's it's one of those things where you have to kind of decide if it's worth the venture because you are sometimes you walk into a restaurant and you're like, okay, someone's taking care of this, thank you. And then sometimes it's like, okay, why is the floor wet?
Why is the floor wet? How did you sat on that seat? Why? Why?
Like why is the floor in front of all the urinals always like wet? And
Wet.
it's to me, oh, so I think urinals are due for an update
Hmm.
because they splash water and everything everywhere. So it's like, okay, what obviously this is not working. Any male that works on bathroom facilities and perhaps the engineering of it all, the design of it all, should know by now. This don't
This is a
work.
mess. It's a mess. It smells bad. It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Don't put
No.
the wrong urinal cake in there either. Like you're just at insult to injury. And
Yeah.
then guys don't wash their hands and I've
They
had
do
this
not
debate with
wash
my
their
brother.
hands.
I've had this debate with my brother. He was like males should be washing their hands before you start anything in the restroom because what have you touched before you arrived at this restroom where you're skipping washing your hands before you go use the restroom? Like yeah,
It
like
it
you're
makes sense. Yeah, you wash your hands before, you do your business, you wash your hands afterwards so that your business doesn't follow you out the door. The amount of times where I have been in the men's restroom where I have heard either a guy use the urinal or a stall, which there's only really one thing they're doing in there, and leave without even pretending to
see
rinse.
ya.
I'm like, dude, like there's no way that you're about to go
Listen,
like
they're
eat a
helping our immune
sandwich
system. They're
at a
helping our immune
restaurant.
system. Yeah.
They're
That's your
typhoid
friend that's like,
marrying.
"Did you wanna share some of this?" Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
exactly. They're typhoid marrying everybody. It's just it's like but
go.
on the flip side from this dad, I've driven across the country. I have been in gas stations that don't feel safe to use the bathroom. He's clearly with two young girls. He's using the bathroom with young kids is kind of stressful anyways. You don't want them to touch anything. You don't, and sometimes like even yesterday, Bo had to go to the bathroom. She waits until the last second. I gotta pee right now. I'm like, dude,
Mhm.
you gotta think about it. Like, you gotta take a second to think about the fact that if you need to pee, you had to pee 5 minutes ago if you need to like go right now and maybe have an
Mhm.
accident. And we don't have those very often, but like, kids get distracted. Especially on a road trip where it's like, I gotta pee. No, I gotta pee. Okay, well, the gas station's 5 minutes away. The one stall in the bathroom in the men's room is full, and you have to pee right this second. And like, yeah, if we walked into a gas station and someone was in the restroom taking 5 minutes longer than my daughter could wait, and the women's restroom was open, I would walk my ass in there and have her pee versus have her have an accident.
I agree. I think it's worth whatever comes out of that to avoid an accident. You're a parent with a child. I mean, again, I go back to what exactly do you think is gonna happen in a restroom? I think a lot of women, and religious individuals and definitely some very conservative men tend to try to echo bathrooms are dangerous. You can have an assault in a when was the last time you saw that anyone was sexually assaulted in a restroom?
I haven't researched it in a long time, but I also do believe that most women who would walk in and see a dad washing his two young daughters' hands in the women's restroom would understand why he's in there
I
and
completely agree.
give him a second to finish. And
Completely
the real
agree.
estate agent who called the cops was a guy who was incredibly upset about it. And the woman who was working at the Quick Trip was like, I'm so sorry. This is super awkward. And like talking to the girls like it's okay. Now this full grown adult is screaming at these girls' dad and like creating a massive problem and probably stressing out the kids over.
Right. So now the kid's got a complex, right? Like we went into the wrong restroom with my dad. Like what does that mean for the kid? Like
Yeah.
I have to be very aware now of the restroom that I go into.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, what if that kid is now in trying to discover herself and maybe she is going to transition at some point or be a lesbian or whatever that happens to be and is now so scared of public restrooms because it's like I've
I'm
had
gonna
this
get screamed
traumatic
at
moment.
for going potty.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's in their mind. Like I'm gonna get screamed at for going to the bathroom with my dad. That's probably what's in their mind. So
So let me ask you this. What do you think the dad's reaction knowing that he's holding on to his kid should be? And do you know how this all got resolved?
I don't know how it all got resolved. I would have probably had the exact same reaction. He recorded it himself, I think for just protection, and he was just calm. He was like, "Look, man, like my god, my girls had to go to the bathroom. The other one was occupied. They had to go. We used the bathroom. That's all we're doing. And now I'm washing their hands and we're going to go."
I
And
wonder if
like
that's even illegal. It's not even illegal. I would have to look it up, but I don't know that there's a federal law or anything that says you men can only use the men's restroom. I think it's just a
I mean, they're trying
societal
to make
thing.
laws about it right now, but
Well,
they're
oh
for
yeah,
completely different purposes.
that's a whole different conversation somewhere else.
Exactly. It's a whole different, and I think you're right on the fact that like the bathroom conversation is such a hot topic issue. So this dude in Alabama was like, "Oh, he's trying to do." No, he was just a dad trying to get his kid to the bathroom. Like that's it.
Like
And
give the man some grace. You know, that obviously
yeah,
not a dad. Obviously not a dad.
obviously, or you know what? He's probably not a dad who'd ever bring his kid to the restroom. That's probably the kind of dad he is one who's
Oh,
never
boom,
done it.
boom. We talked
You
about
know,
that last episode. Guys, go back and watch the last episode. We're talking about dads who don't do dad stuff on
dads who
purpose.
don't do dad stuff on purpose.
I like that. That's the
Hmm.
tagline. All right.
Oh,
Let me get into my second story here. All right. Matthew Knowles spent years managing Beyonce's career, but one decision repeatedly criticized by both fans and industry observers was keeping tight control over nearly every aspect of Destiny's Child. Former member Latoya Lockett and Latavia Robertson, I don't know if you remember them, but they were the OG original Destiny's Child members,
okay.
publicly accused Knowles of replacing them without a meaningful communication, claiming they had learned they were out of the group after seeing the Say My Name music video. Years later, Beyonce also ended her father's role as manager, describing it as a business decision with no wrongdoing alleged. The situation illustrates how parents' financial interests can become inseparable from their child's career, making it difficult to distinguish what's best for the child versus what's best for the businessman. Ooh. So, we talk about this a lot. So, I guess it's really the question is it always well intentioned to start managing your child and then do that indefinitely, or should there be an off ramp to say I want to be your parent, so let's create a management situation away from me, but I'm still in your life.
Yeah, I think like parents can be that voice of reason, or, I also think that, depending on the parent, I mean, the first thing that popped into my head was not, because Beyonce didn't crumble under celebrity,
Just
right? But I think
consummate
about,
professional, right? The way she's
yeah,
bringing things up. Hmm.
she exactly. So, she's never really I've never seen that from her. But then I think about like Amy Winehouse or Britney Spears, who we have talked about and their dynamics and how those have they destroyed them. I would say, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. So if Bo wants to just suddenly be a musician, I would want to know everything that's happening, but I want someone to professionally be helping us through it, but also knowing what's happening so that I know she's not getting screwed over. It's like if that makes sense. So it's like I wouldn't want to be her manager because it would change the dynamic between our relationship. our relationship between and my relationship with my daughter would no longer be a parent relationship. It would be, like you said, a business relationship, and it would change. Would I just inherently trust somebody else to look out for her best interests the way that I would? Probably not. So I think that there's a place for you there, but it should be a dynamic so that not only you have a say, the manager can put their input in, but also the artist, Bo or whoever, Beyonce, has somebody to either have their back
Bo is the next
or
Beyonce. Is that what you're trying to say?
no, 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 not what I'm saying. But like, I'm just using myself as an example. But no, no. Anything, she might be like a DJ. She's very into
That's
DJ,
okay.
like making
That's
beats.
Paris Hilton and RuPaul right now DJing.
Yeah, she's doing it. She's doing it. It's so funny. But yeah, I think it would be like, having a team that you're a part of, not being the team and your dog, because I feel like that power dynamic is just, it's already unfair to the artist
So,
because you're just kind of not in
so
charge.
I agree with you 100%. I think a parent running a career can always start off right, but there needs to be an off ramp. And
Yeah.
I say that with all of this now knowledge, right, of all of these individuals that have gone through this path, and we've seen how that has turned out for different individuals. I think one of the things that Beyonce does very well is she keeps her personal business to herself and within
Hmm.
her circle, and everyone that's tied to her knows this is the way we rock. Like, we don't put our business in the street, we don't fight on social media, we're not, targeting each other, we're not spiteful in person. I think the very few moments that we've gotten a glimpse of something, it's always someone in her bubble doing something that pulls her into the spotlight. Like the whole elevator issue with her sister and Jay-Z years ago.
Yeah.
Like, Beyonce was present, but she wasn't, the one.
She wasn't acting like that.
Exactly. Um, and I always harken back to I think Beyonce and Oprah were talking, and Oprah gave her that advice, like, your business, your private business is your private business. Never let that change how people see your, because you're a professional, right? It's not
Yeah.
about putting out something that's not you. It's about the fact that wherever you go, you are showing up as Beyonce. You're not showing up as
Yeah.
homie Beyonce down the street, right? So when it comes to managing kids, I think with the amount of knowledge that I have now, I would certainly start it, but I would also
Hmm.
get off. Like, a year or two in, okay, let's bring in a manager who has all of our best interests at heart, right? You don't, Mr. Manager, you don't make a decision or go forth without my approval.
Both of our approval.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not the one running and finding and managing and having to, like, chase. You got to be on time. You got to be here. I don't want to do that because I still want to be a parent to my child. And I think that is probably
Yeah.
more important than being a manager to your child.
When you're, like the goal, I think, is to be like a confidant and someone that your child can come to and talk to and look for insight and advice. But if you have that dynamic, it can be really hard to have both of those things in one person. Because it's like, what hat are you wearing right now? Are you wearing my parent hat? Or are you wearing my manager hat? Because I think a manager, for a lot of reasons, aren't necessarily, they're looking to make you successful. And sometimes a lot of the times, making a person successful is sacrifice.
And
And
pushing them to
in
do something they don't want to
historically,
do when they don't want to do it. I want to sleep in. Well, no, you
exactly.
don't. We got $3 million to go make.
Yeah.
Get your butt up. That's manager over there.
And
Be the bad guy.
be the bad guy. And historically, managers have put their best interest over the well-being of an artist in certain circumstances. So having the fallback, the safety net of having a parent involved that you'd certainly hope is the best interest for their own child makes the most sense. And then I don't know really anything about Beyonce's dad or about the dynamic or even that Destiny Child had two different members previously to this conversation, but that's not a nice way to tell someone, hey, there's a new music video
You
of the
know what?
band
I
you're no
don't
longer
know
in.
if that's actually how it happened. It's very very much like those in our political sphere right now that tell people over a
Hmm.
tweet that they've been terminated, which is kind of crazy. But um, I do think that we have to remember that managers are humans, parents are humans. They all have their flaws, and I think money oftentimes magnifies that because then you tend to forget
Yeah.
yourself. So that is my advice to people. Yes, be successful. Allow your parents to help you, but also have a voice and know when it's
Mhm.
time to say no, thank you. And maybe it takes years until you grow up like Beyonce to be able to say, okay, thank you. You've done well. Fantastic. Time for the next chapter.
Yeah, and I think, that comes into raising a child who's not afraid to speak their mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not afraid to be like, "You know what? This is just no, this isn't working, and I don't like the way this feels," and being able to, and that's not an easy
Hey,
thing to
dad, let me tell you about
install in a kid.
yourself. That's not an easy conversation to have.
It's not, but if you can listen and be like, "You know what? I can see where you're coming from, and in certain situations, I can see where you're right, and I'm gonna give you my perspective here." I had to be the bad guy with Bo on Sunday. Not because I was trying to, and I was with 2 of our friends, and they're like, "Oh, leave her be," and I was like, "No," like, had to push her to go in the pool. We drove 40 minutes to go to a pool, and we got there, and she was too scared to get in, and I was like, "We can do this," and she was mad at me for the rest of the day, but I didn't throw her in. I didn't hurt her, I didn't do anything wrong, I just got in with her on me, and we were in the pool, and it was a she gets very overwhelmed and overstimulated, and then she can have, like, kinda breakdowns with that, and so that's just what happened, and but I kinda pushed her to do it anyways because I know she's capable of doing it, and I think that, yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta be a bad guy as a parent too, like, even in a moment where you're like, "I'm not trying to be."
So, quick sidebar. You said something like you were trying to get her to do something and your friends were trying to encourage you to back off. I know I kind
Yeah,
of summarized that. I think that is something that we often have to teach our friends to say, "Hey, when I'm in parenting mode, I appreciate your commentary, but that you can't voice that. Like, let me do my thing. You don't need to contribute to the success or the lack thereof success in this moment."
yeah.
Like,
We had
please
another mo
please don't, she doesn't have to. It's okay. No, 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 no. Please stay in your lane. Let me do my thing.
Well, when that happened, I actually had that happen again. It was in a different circumstance with a different group of people, and we all went to breakfast. And there was one chair that was like made for Bo. It wasn't a kid's chair, but it was a really small space next to the table, and that was the chair she was sitting in. And three other people were like, "No, no, no, I'll take the chair. I'll take it. I'll take it." And I was like, "No, she's going to take it. She fits in this spot. She's crying about it, but no, she's fine." And they were like, "Ooh." And I was like, "It's fine. She's going to get over it." Like she fits there. Not a single full-sized human is going to fit there comfortably. She wasn't uncomfortable. She was totally fine. She was just being a little bratty. So she was not going to get away with it. She was going to acknowledge that that's where she's going to sit and it's okay. And if you wanted to just sit next to somebody else, I'll move, but that's still your spot. And she's like, "No, I want you to sit here and I'm okay." I was like, "Okay, great." And it took 2 minutes, but it also took me having to look at everybody else, tell them to stop giving her an out to what was going to happen. It's not your place. It's my
Participation
place.
is not required.
It's not required. And when it's asked for, it's appreciated. Hey, I could use your help in this moment, but it's just not. And I think sometimes they're like, "Oh God, you had your dad hat on." I was like, "Yeah, because sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need that dad hat." And like, I'm incredibly loving and always down to play and imagination and all of that. But I also am not, I don't really let a ton of, brattiness
We've got
fly. Just
scaffolding
like,
and we've got boundaries. Which one do you want?
yes, exactly. We've got boundaries. We set them, we respect them, we work on our, and she's only 5, but these are important lessons to install in a younger kid
Absolutely
because
agree.
as she grows, yeah, they grow into those boundaries that you're setting. They grow into those lessons that you're teaching them with your actions. I really do focus on how I treat Bo.
Yeah, and imagine had you given in to all of the rhetoric, then she'd have been like, every time we go out, if I want to pipe up, these folks are going to chime in and dad's going to change his mind. That's a bad lesson to learn.
Yeah. And it's an easy lesson to slip up on once and then be like, this is the baseline.
Yeah, this is
I
forever
get to
now.
do this
Thank
now.
you.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, August,
Which kind
give
of
us the segue. You're gonna do it. Here it
it
comes.
actually plays our tangent kind of plays into this last one because so a 42-year-old former NFL All-Pro wide receiver Brandon Marshall, the father of three, got under some serious social media backlash because he posted a video of his son running in the dark. Apparently, it was 2 a.m. and it was a punishment for poor behavior. He was filmed in the comfort of his car, which is how it was written, driving slowly alongside his son while he was making his son run. And what he said was that this is my son, not my friend. Discipline correction is good, even at 2 a.m. We run. I do not put my hands on you, but I'm training you to be a warrior. I'm training you to be a leader, to serve, to have discipline, and to be better than me. And he goes on, if you don't start running, we're going to go for 3 miles instead of 2. You start running, you better start running because you don't know when I'm going to tell you to stop. If you don't want to listen, we're going to run. We work 2 a.m. I don't care. Let's go. I'm driving 3 miles per hour. I should be driving faster. So it's an intense version of discipline, right? It's an intense version of discipline. The social media accusations of child abuse and public humiliation and what's your take?
So I'm all for finding creative ways to encourage good behavior, punishment, right? I think that I don't think this is a good example for how to manage punishment because there are a lot of open ends to this, right? If you're being punished and running is how you're being punished, and maybe your kid's athletic or whatnot, so running is part of their motif anyway. I think
Mm-hmm.
punishment needs to be very clear, right? We're gonna run you normally run 5, we're gonna run 2 miles because you're being punished. Um, so God, this story is weird. It's almost like run faster. I don't know. We don't know how long we're gonna run for. It's 2 o'clock in the. All of that put together is excessive for me because the punishment does not need to happen at 2 o'clock in the morning. You do not need to tell your kid we're gonna run from now until the sun comes up. That's abusive, especially if they're not runners or this isn't a normal thing. They're not athletic, and you're making them run for it, right? At 2 o'clock in the morning at a certain speed, like keep up, and I'm in my car. Now, if dad was out there running with him, I might feel a little different, right?
Well, that's exactly my thought. My exact thought was this would feel different if you were next to him
Yeah, if he
doing it
and
too.
not to say he's shouldering the punishment, but he's got a dog in the fight, right? I'm gonna keep up with you. It is punishment, but I'm gonna keep up with you. We're running together. The fact that he's in a car, you can go for days, and your kid's
Yeah.
running next. That is what I don't like it is what I'm saying. There needs to be another way to punish your child without it being tied to body works because your body can feel different one day. You can feel tired one day. You can not want to do it. Your mind has to be into the running. That can be mental abuse and now translated into physical abuse. This kid could end up not loving to run anymore. He could hate his dad for having him run 2 o'clock in the morning. How old is this kid?
Well, not to be like a devil's advocate, but maybe he was told to go to bed. Maybe he was told to go to bed to put his video game away, and his dad walks into the room at 2 a.m. and he is on his video game he was supposed to put away, and he's like, "Fine, if you're awake, let's go for a run." But
Great, let's
let's
go
go
for a
for a
run.
run.
Okay, go run for an
Let's do
hour.
it. You, me.
Two,
Yeah.
two.
And like an hour, no one runs for an hour. Like 2 miles should take you half an hour max, right? So this kid's getting shown through working with him, not the car side of it is the thing that kind of bothers me, because it's like, even on a bike, your car is a an intimidation, right? That's an intimidation. Now, I like that he said, like, I don't put my hands on you. It didn't feel like a threat, because he's like, I don't do that. I don't put my hands on you, but I'm going to show you that but I'm going to train you to be a
But there are
warrior.
worse things, right? Than him putting his hand on
I
his
mean,
kid. Like, if this for so I don't know the history, so that's why I'm doing kind of yin and the yang. If this kid is not athletic
mhm,
and doesn't run on a regular basis, this is abuse. Because now you're
yeah,
making someone who doesn't run try to run for a predetermined. There are people out there that can't do a mile. Hands up, I
yeah.
can't do a mile. I would have to get back into it and work my way up to a mile and then beyond. There are people that have been running for years that run 5 miles and 10 miles and they're like, yeah, this is easy. But if you don't normally run, a mile is going to be hard.
And for an 11-year-old, and a mile is hard. I mean, that's hard. I wanted to kind of get like a, because it brought out so many people's reactions, because people are like, this is child abuse, this is emotional and verbal abuse, this should never be allowed. And from my circumstance, it's like, is this how you discipline your child, or did you discipline your child this way so you could make a video of it and put it on the internet?
Oh,
And
now that's a
from
good
this,
point.
so that is where I really like, the disciplining of your child should not be a public thing. That is a private thing. That is not something that your child should have to know that all of his friends saw it. Like, that's not something, or his friend's parents. And then when he goes over his friend's parents' house, they've seen it. We've talked about this. When it comes to, I post about my kid. I don't post her tantrums. Those are private moments where she's being her most vulnerable self, whether she's acting out or really tired or whatever. So I don't think that necessarily pushing your kid to be active is a bad thing. I think using it as a form of discipline is going to create a negative relationship with being active.
Agree.
I've watched parents body shame their children who are not thin into exercise by themselves, instead of joining them on an exercise that could be fun. Hey, you know, you look internally and be like, I want to make sure that my kid can be active. So let's start being active together. Let's go for hikes. Let's choose different things together. Let's make an example instead of a conversation in this, because they don't need to know what you're thinking. They just want to know that and it's a great way. Like, let's spend more time together. Let's start hiking. Do you want to start hiking? That'd be so fun. And change it. In this circumstance, what you said was like, yeah, let's run together, because I'm going to show you what it takes to be disciplined, and I'm going to show you what it takes to be a warrior, because I want you to be better
And
than me.
how are you
And I'm going
teaching
to
a
show
kid how
you.
to be a warrior while you're riding in the car? Warriors ride in the car
Exactly.
at 3
That's
mile.
more of a dictator.
Exactly. So you're not what you're
Yeah,
saying is not representing what you're doing.
correct.
Because that kid
Yeah.
is getting nothing but performative actions from you when you're saying, this is your punishment for today. I'm riding in the car. By the way, I have my phone hanging out the driver's side, recording you the whole time of me
But
yelling
you're
you,
upset.
telling you, well, you should have did. Listen,
Run
the
faster.
the punishment for being up that late doing whatever it is you're doing is to remove the item for a certain amount of time. That is a measured response to that. Again, if the kid is athletically inclined and he's in football and running is his thing, I get it. That may make sense.
Yeah, he was like a fit little kid. It wasn't like, but it's still like, from the look of the video, he was not comfortable.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
He was upset about the response he got for whatever he didn't do. Now, I made up the whole, like, maybe he was playing a video game thing. That was just like an example of, like, if you think you can be up at this time, then let's prove it. But
Well, for
yeah,
whatever reason he's up,
it,
there's something keeping him up to that hour. So it's like
yeah,
whatever that
hmm
is, that's what you address, right? As opposed to putting the child in physical strain at 2 o'clock in the morning? Did he stretch? Did he hydrate? Does he have his carbs? I mean, is this a thing? Yeah, my head goes all because I hate running. I want to be fit and I want to stay fit, but running ain't it. So I mean, a lot of people stay fit and without running. But if you want to punish me, say let's go run for a mile. I'm gonna cry at you the whole time. So I feel for this kid. So whatever. And even some kids that are really fit and they run for their football or basketball or whatever, they do it begrudgingly because that's what they need to do to play. Right? There's a goal at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway,
When I
go ahead.
and I loved running as a kid. I loved it. I ran everywhere. My parents used to joke that I ran before I walked. Like that was my thing. And I lost it through high school and most of my adulthood. And I've just started to pick it up and falling back in love with it. It's still incredibly hard. It's still like one of those things that where if I honestly, so it's like something that's like if I'm not having the best day, like I go for a run because I know it's going to be hard. And by the end of it, I did a hard thing, which is great. But I feel like in this instance, you're creating a negative relationship with something that you could make a positive thing. You're separating yourself from it by being in the car, by putting a phone in front of it. If you're putting a phone in front of your kid, you're separating yourself from the kid. The kid sees the phone and then they see you holding the phone.
Yeah.
You're
And they're
you're
wondering
not.
if you're being genuine as a parent, or is this just for likes and
Yeah.
clicks, which leads me to believe that he's probably done something like this before for pulling out a camera to be second nature. Anyway, let's get into some fuck around and find out the good examples.
The good example. So after I read this, I had seen a video. A Sports Center had um launched it, posted it, and there was not a tag for the coach, but it was an example of not letting a boy quit. So it's a young boy. He's crying. He's very upset. He's at wrestling practice, and this coach that stands in front of him is looking at him and he's like, I get that you're tired. I know you're beaten down, but I also know that you're capable of this. I know that you've got this. And like, I believe in that you can do this. And this boy wanted to give up. You can see it written all over his face. And the coach didn't let him. And it was through positivity. It was through validating that he was tired and also building him up in the same moment. Like, you are tired. I get it. You want to give up, but I know that other side of you is in there and you're a warrior. And you watched him go through his little like mat routine. And at the end of it, the boy started crying and looked at him and was like, I did it. And he's like, you did it. And it was just it was such a great moment. And I saw it first on Sports Center. They post apparently a lot, but unfortunately, the coach was not tagged. But I just thought it was a great example of what a positive influence and a positive presence can do on a kid who just needs a little bit of validation on both
I
sides.
like that because coaches represent a big part of some of the kids' lives, especially if they're playing a sport that they really enjoy. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
always great. A lot of the coaches that have been coaching my kid in like football and basketball have been very uh, positive in their approach. I do not like coaches that yell and scream at kids. If you want me to yank my kid out of a team, that is the way to do it. Like, I don't need anyone
Yeah.
yelling and screaming at you. That doesn't help at all. Now, if you're raising your
No.
voice because the kid needs to hear you because they're down court, cool. I'm okay with that. Please do. They need to hear you.
Totally
But
fine.
if you're like yelling and barrage and like, you need to, you drop me, give me 20. This is not, I don't like that. Like, exactly the way that you just described your story is perfect for someone who really cares about how this kid is associated with the sport and how to get them past their initial limit to say you've passed limit A, you're at B. So now when you get to A again, you know that that's not where we stop. We stop at B, and then now we're going to go to C, and it's gradual in that way. Maybe it's
And
the
then
way I
B
grew up.
becomes A,
So
and I grew up the same way, where it was like it was like instead of meeting you in your moment and recognizing like I get it, dude, this is hard, but you know what, I know you're capable of it. And there's another moment where it was like this daughter said she can't do it, and dad's like, can't is not a word in our vocabulary, you just haven't done it yet. And this coach reminded me of that too, where it was like, I know you can do it because I have watched you and I know what's on the inside, and I get that you're tired. And sometimes it's just being like, I get it, dude, you're tired, but you got this anyways. And then by pushing the kid to continue to do it, by showing them and helping them through that tired and helping into that moment, then they do it for themselves. That confidence that you are helping build is undeniable, and will, that coach is going to have a lasting that coach is going to have a lasting impact on that kid in
I always
that
think
one
about
little moment.
Monsters Inc. Have you seen Monsters Inc., the second one?
Yeah.
Where
I
so
think
the
so.
second one is so the first one is about fear and how fear is
Yeah.
fueling, right?
And then it's
And
laughter,
then the
right?
second one is laughter and how laughter is like 10 times more powerful than fear. I
Mm-hmm.
always think about that when it comes to in the interpersonal with kids and trying to engage with them. The yelling and the screaming, it does something, sure. But the positive reinforcement, that's they're going to remember that and add it to their lexicon of how to engage in the world. And I think a lot of people forget that the positive side requires effort. It's easy to get mad and pissed off at someone. To do the positive
Totally.
side requires a little bit more effort. And I think Monsters Inc.
Yeah,
showed
and
that
just
pretty
like
well.
I love that, and it really is just like a little bit of effort, and holding space, like,
I don't want to hold
oh,
any space. I ain't got space for it.
no.
No.
I ain't got no time or space
No.
for effort
That's what the
or
coach is for.
empathy
He got
today.
space. I pay for space.
He's got it. I'm tired.
Right. I don't have any space for you in my car as you run next to anyway, and that's the previous story.
Oof. Yeah, yeah.
All right, August, take us
So
out.
wild. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Certified Bad Example. You can find us on Spotify, on our new YouTube link, which is in our Instagram bio, and on Apple Podcasts. Like, subscribe, and come back next week for more.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.